Hello once again, it's Mr. Pete, your YouTube shop teacher. I'm a little embarrassed to tell you that I went to another auction today, and that's 2 weeks in a row. I managed to squander $150 approximately, maybe a little bit less. It was a very large auction with about 15 rack loads plus a building full of stuff. I was, however, outbid 95% of the time. I did have a carload of stuff, but it's just not a lot of good stuff, but I'm going to run through it anyway. And I did buy a lot of books and magazines and things like that, which I like to read. Old tractor books and car books, truck books, and that type of thing. Some repair manuals, but not a whole lot of tools. But let me show you what I got anyway. Now, near the end of this video, I'm going to show you some iPhone footage of the auction. There was a lathe there, actually 2 lathes, and my buddy did buy the one South Bend lathe. I think it was about $250, really an older one, probably from the 20s or 30s. So let's take a look at some of this stuff. For some reason I like Magnetos, and I did buy, what is there, a dozen or so. And they probably don't work, but I might turn them around and try to pay for the money, pay back the money I wasted today. There were hundreds of Magnetos. I was outbid on most of them. Also, there was a Magneto repair machine, which you'll see in the video later on, but there lies that pile. Luckily, I had my wife there with me to help load these. They're pretty heavy. Like I said, I bought a lot of magazines and books, and there they are. I already threw away or left at the auction site over 50% of what I had bought because I just wasn't interested in it, or it was junk. Here's a tray of taps and dies for $1. I don't know why I bought them. There's not much good there. There's a brand new Lincoln grease gun still in the package. All my grease guns are clogged, so I think I'll throw some of the other ones out. I bought this right near the end of the auction. It is a little unique. I don't really even use this type of riser block on the milling machine, but I've never seen ones made out of aluminum, and they're die cast step blocks. There's a few missing, as you can see. But they're die cast. Have you ever seen any like this? And the larger ones here have the name on, and it looks like Jergens, like, you know, Jergens lotion. But I had to have them. But I don't understand what these little pads are for. And there's about 6, 8, or 10 of those. Maybe to put the clamp on to protect the riser blocks. I don't know. Seem to be American made. It's an older set. This I thought was kind of funny. It's a combination square set, and of course it's Chinesium. I was the only one to bid on it, and it was $1. I was a little embarrassed. But alongside of it, they had a set of silver and Deming drill bits, and they sold for $55, brand new. But I think you can buy them for $30. But I don't think I've ever seen anything this cheap, because it only has graduations on one side. Either that or they forgot to mark the back side. But in another video sometime, I think I'll compare this to a Starrett and see if it truly is square. It just, everything about it seems cheap. Like I say, I'm a little embarrassed, but you wonder, is it really a square? Will it be square? We'll do that some other time. But of course, it is made you know where. Here's a very interesting item, and I bought it right at the end of the auction. I think it was the last thing I bought. And they were holding it up. A woman was holding it up. Nobody knew what it was, so I just saw it from a distance. I thought, well, I'm going to take a chance, and it was $1. So it's a Heisler, which I believe is made in Germany. For measuring speeds. This is the first time I've looked at it. It's got a man's name on it, Hansen, I think it says. And there's some extra tips. I'm having trouble with my other high quality one, but I think this will be nice, and also I can check linear speeds with this little wheel like I do on a bandsaw to check feet per minute. So I think that's a rather nice piece, probably fairly expensive. If anyone has ever heard of it, let me know. I think it says Swiss made down there. Having a little trouble reading that small print, let me see. Yeah, Swiss made. Awesome. That might be the only really good buy that I had today. Here's an OTC puller. Not that I need another puller. Looks like the thread may be damaged up here, I'm not sure. Feels pretty smooth, but I might find some use for it. I think it was only $1 or $2. I really think there's something wrong with me. I have a fixation for vices, so I bought 2 drill press vices, 4 inchers, and they were $5 each. But the interesting thing about this one is, and I'm going to talk about this in another video, this is one of our Peterson Products 4-inch drill press vices made in my shop. There's the boy's name on there. I recognize that. I wiped that part off. It's real dirty. There's no holes drilled in it. Maybe it was never used, but I had wanted to talk about my Peterson product vices and things, and there I ran into one. $5. I was the only bidder. I believe this is American made, but I've never seen this style of vise. We see the rapid traverse type all the time by Heinrich where you tighten it up, but this uses a combination of a screw and the quick release. And you watch the screw move back and forth. So I've got a workpiece in there, and you would just bring this up against and then tighten, and it's ready to drill. It is rather dirty. It's got plenty of holes drilled in it. Maybe it wasn't even $5, maybe it was $2, but it looks like a pretty nice vise. It is cast iron. I will clean that up, probably not in a video, but I'm rather fond of this kind of vise. Add to my other 25 vices for drill presses. I know, it's insane. Down in this box, and I won't show you too much of that, but it's just a box lot that I bought with some tools in it that will be used and shown in my What Is It series. I'm always looking for unusual things that even I do not recognize, but usually some viewers have seen them, so you'll see some of this stuff later on. This was a job lot for $1. Steam engine guide, Fordson parts list. I think that's an original one. Fordson tractor and the Model T service. I believe this is a reprint, but along with it, a slide rule. And you know how much I hate slide rules, but it is a Dietzken. But it sure seemed like a cheap one, and there's another name on here, so I think they just put the Dietzken brand on. I would say this is only suitable for stirring paint. That'd be perfect for stirring. For the longest time, I'd been looking for a small motor to use on that die filer that you've seen me purchased quite a long time ago. Actually, a man gave it to me, but I never did get it running. It needs some repair work, but now I finally got a motor for it. But I was bidding on this. It was $4. I was really bidding on it because of the nice drum switch on it. I don't really need a reversing motor on the die filer, but it runs, and it's a 1750 RPM. And it reverses. You know, these cost about $50 for a switch like that. And lastly is this surprise box, and I have not gone through it other than at the auction site when I saw the Starrett book in there, older catalog, and the 19th edition of the Machinery Handbook. I thought, well, this is machinist stuff. So and it weighs a lot. I had to give $45 for this box, but there's a lot of cutting tools in here. They probably emptied a drawer. So let's go through all of this stuff, and I think I will have some surprises. So this 19th edition is from 1975. Looks like it's kind of had a rough life, but underneath the ragged cover, it looks pretty good. So I got that. Now, here's a very interesting item, and I did see this at the auction. I thought, what could be in that box? So in the box is a very nice Jacobs ball bearing chuck, along with a number 3 Morse taper, no chuck key. It looks like it's been used, but in pretty good condition. So I'm glad of that. But I think what this was originally, the box, was a Jacobs box, and I don't know why this is in plastic, and I haven't had this out yet. But there's a Jacobs armature chuck with the brass jaws and a number 2 Morse taper. And you know how these work. That's a number 100. So that's a nice item. I don't think this belongs in there, but it fits. That's worth the price of admission. Now you can see in the box, it's cutting tools. From here on out, it appears to be reamers and end mills. I'm not sure why there's end mills, because this man did not have a milling machine. He did have a lathe and drill presses and so on, but let's look through this. Probably some is new and some is used. I'll lay it all out on the table rather than dig it out one piece at a time. Okay, I think you can see that this is a rather large assortment of milling cutters and reamers, and then even a can of high-speed steel. So let me go through that real quickly. In this pile there are some roughing mills, but I can see that some of this stuff has been used. But there's a ball end mill, looks like about a 3/4. There's a even larger ball end mill, still with the protective on it, but sometimes you wonder if they've been resharpened, because I do see a couple that are broken or cut off. For instance, there's one that's been cut off for some reason, which I don't like. And then I don't know why, but here's a couple of diamond nibs. Oop, I should say one diamond nib. And that's a small end mill, I guess. Yeah. Here's a couple brand new taps. That's like a 7/8. Boy, even feels sharp. And slightly smaller one. Usually you don't see taps in that kind of holder, but here's some other cutters. And then down here, I believe that most of these are new. Let's take a look. That's a Niagara, by the way. Shank looks like it's never been used. I'm not sure. I have to go through all of it. Here's a big corner rounding cutter. So you can see there's some really nice stuff in this batch. Here is a brand new Arco 1/2-inch chuck, but to me these are junk, still in the package. And a general outside caliper in the package. And a singular parallel clamp, but I do not see a maker's name on it. I almost forgot to go through this coffee can. There's some cutters in there. Center drill. Let me dump this out. Well, that's high-speed steel, but it looks like most of the pieces have been ground on. A couple of full-size pieces, but I think that's primarily junk that needs to be thrown away. There's a full piece, but you know, I don't keep something like that. That's a disappointment. And over in this pile, there's a great big counter bore. Appears to be new. And some reamers. There's another counter bore, another counter bore, another counter bore. So there's 4 counter bores or more. Some reamers. Yankee made in USA. I'm not familiar with that brand, but it says made in USA, and there's a brand new 1/2-inch reamer. Probably cost 40 bucks for one of those. And some more reamers. That one's used for sure. Smaller ones. And then that looks like a dual. Now that's used, but that's one of those adjustable reamers that'll take up for wear. So, what do you think of my auction treasures today? Not what I'm used to getting, but some pretty interesting items, and it was a very long, hot day with 2 auctioneers going full blast for 4 hours. The only redeeming thing was a corn dog. Now that's the end of the video, but stay tuned for my iPhone type of poor handheld videos that kind of give you an idea what these Illinois auctions are like. And there seems to be a lot of them in the summer, but it was extremely well attended, and that means that the prices are high. And like I said, I wasn't real successful, but I had a good day. I had a lot of fun. My wife came along with me with a lawn chair, and I think she enjoyed it too, but there wasn't even one single thing there that might appeal to a woman. It was strictly a man's auction, and that was the second of 2 auctions for this man who is deceased, and he just had an enormous quantity of things which he could not take to heaven with him. This is tubalcain saying so long for now.